Welcome, Wanderer! Getting your mythic items has never been easier. There are 4 methods, and I'm here to present you all of them. One of them will give you infinite sparks to craft as many mythics as you want. Number 1, drop down to Torment 1. Teleport to Nevesk below Kjovachat and then make your way to Uber Lilith. And before you say, Pony, I never beat her, no worries, they changed how she works. Instead of having to go through her phases, you can just nuke her. That's it. Yes, even in phase 2, she doesn't cut off things anymore. Done. That's your first Resplendent Spark. It works only one time per account per season. Second spark is for finishing your seasonal journey. Get all the way to the Destroyer tier and then boom. You got already 2. That's your first mythic item. Now the third spark is where it gets really interesting because this is going to give you unlimited Opticide. You get greater affix items left, right, and center. You will gain more chaotic uniques. And most importantly, you can repeat it as often as you want. Teleport yourself to the seasonal reputation board, and here at the very end, if you finish all your reputation, you'll get another Resplendent Spark. The good thing about this is, you can repeat this on every character, but that's not the very good thing. I can simply create a new character, no matter the class, Spiritborn for me here. Start the seasonal quest line to unlock the reputation board. And now I only need 500,000 reputation to make my way to the Resplendent Cache. And that reputation is so easy to gain. You only need 22,250 warp. And then buy yourself at Shein 89 warp scrolls. Not more than that, just 89 of these scrolls. Dump them in your stash. And have your new character just fly through the reputation. Now you're going to say 22,000 warp, that's going to take forever. That's actually wrong. I mean, look at me. I'm already here with these scrolls. We're almost at the end. What the hell? Yeah. Good thing here is not only will you get the Resplendent Cache, you also get the Lair Boss materials. Why not? 21 axes of blood for free. You'll get gold, Infernal Warp, Fleeting Horde compasses. All that kind of stuff that helps you to buy yourself even more scrolls. Including those Chaos Rift Nightmare Dungeon sigils that we'll need for this method. Because for 22,250 Infernal Warp, you only need 10 to 13 Chaos Rift dungeons. The reason for that is quite simple. As you're going through those Chaos Rift dungeons, every single Chaos Rift will give you tons of chaotic warp. Killing enemies will give you chaotic warp. But as you're going through a Chaos Rift dungeon at some point, not always at the end, sometimes in the middle, boom, a huge chunk of chaotic warp will drop. And that is up to 2,000 chaotic warp on top of all the other chaotic warp you've been finding. I couldn't find rhyme and reason when exactly it's going to happen. You have to pay some attention though, because you could just be zooming and suddenly it drops behind you. It always drops out of you, but if you're moving too fast, you might actually miss out on those 2,000 Infernal Warp on the ground. Therefore, only 10 dungeons will get you those 20,000 easy. And not only that Infernal Warp, every single Chaotic Rift gives you greater affix items, Infernal Compasses. You can get uniques out of that with greater affixes as well. The most greater affix uniques I've gotten was from these Chaotic Rifts. And also chaotic uniques plus mythic items themselves. It is rare, but mythic Chaos Rifts exist, which would then be the final method. Actually find one of those. And how are you going to find one of those? Well, by doing more of those dungeons. After now farming that 22,000 Infernal Warp, I also sit at 42,000 Opticide. I got my Resplendent Spark, and now I simply just have to go for our friend the Blacksmith, and I could gamble for a mythic unique. Or I would go to the jeweler to target craft what I'm looking for. Now you're going to say, Pony, I'll never have these runes to target craft. That's right. Runes are extremely rare. However, if you do the Undercity with the Tributes of Harmony, they vastly buff the drop chances. It is better now than ever. This is where you're going to farm then. How you're going to get Tributes of Harmony? From killing bosses, from finishing Nightmare Dungeons. Yes, finishing Nightmare Dungeons will actually give you Tributes of Harmony. And also from handing in Tree of Whisper stuff, plus killing world bosses. And finishing the pit itself gives you Tributes of Harmony too. Those 14 might give me more than enough to craft the mythic I want. However, what I tend to do is I just YOLO mamble gamble here with the mythic unique caches. Keep in mind that you never want to open this with a druid, because you have a high chance to get a Havarian. You also never want to open it with a Barbarian, because you could be getting the weird pole arm, and you don't want to open it with a Spiritborn, as there's another one you really, really don't want to have. The best one I found to open this with is the Necromancer or the Rogue. Probably the Rogue, because the Rogue can get the least mythics, and therefore the chance to get what you're looking for is higher. Necro can get the Grandfather. That's also good for the Barbarian, but not so good for others. So Necro or Rogue. And what are we going to get right now, ladies and gentlemen? That's going to be a... Ooh, please be a Shroud. Yes! Bam! That was, yeah. I'm blessed, chat. Hashtag blessed. But wait, there's more. While you're farming the Chaotic Warp, you're also gaining tons of reputation, which will allow you to buy more Greater Infernal Caches. And these Greater Infernal Caches, ta-da-da-da-da-da, have some Infernal Warp in them, congratulations, but they always have at least one Chaotic Unique in there. So keep in mind that when you farm this with whatever character, right, to make sure to pick these up. Crown of Lucian, that's actually pretty OP, I gotta say. Double Greater Affix Boots, fantastic. In order to get that Chaotic Unique and those Chaos Rift Nightmare Dungeon Sigils, you want to go into your Seasonal Blessings, activate Urn of Chaos Armor, chance to drop a Chaos Armor from Greater Infernal Caches. You want to have the Urn of Reputation for more reputation. And most importantly, Urn of Chaos Nightmares, chance to drop additional Nightmare Dungeon Sigils from Helltide chests with a guaranteed Chaos Rift Affix. If you're then in Helltides, if you're doing some rifts there in Helltides and you're going to open some chests, blessed. You're going to be having tons of them. Lastly, what are now the most important mythics to get this season? What helps the most builds and makes them the strongest? Number one would be the Shroud of False Death. Every build can actually play it. Even if you usually need a chest armor to make your build work, you can now get that chest armor as a Chaotic Unique and then still equip the Shroud of False Death. And the same goes for your helmet. The Air of Perdition giving you those core skill ranks, crit chance, lucky hit, movement speed, everything, and the 60% bonus damage. Many builds do need a specific helmet to work. For example, the Sorceress with the Crown of Lucian. Well, no worries, just get the Crown of Lucian as a Chaotic Unique and boom, Air of Perdition is your friend, bonus core skill ranks, more damage. Lastly, in the Holy Trinity, we have the Ring of Starless Skies. Again, same here, you need to play 2 unique rings, just get 1 ring as a Chaotic Uniques, equip the Ring of Starless Skies. But to be fair, most builds don't actually need 2 unique rings to work. One honorary mention still goes out to the Harlequin Crest. That 20% cooldown reduction and the 4 ranks to everything ain't bad, but the Air of Perdition mostly outperforms that by far and wide. For Tyrell's Might, I don't know why it even exists anymore. If you get this one, just be happy about a spark. You really want the Shroud, the Air of Perdition, and the Ring of Starless Skies. Anything else is just an auto disenchant. Now go out there, farm your Resplendent Sparks. Tell me how many have you gotten already, and did you find a Chaotic Mythic Rift? Also, if you want to play the Druid build, here's the guide. Enjoy, and take care.